Hey guys, it's Snake and I'm back with some more Nuketown Zombies. Definitely my favorite addition to the new game. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of an easy map, especially if you're playing solo, but just in general, it's a pretty simple map as long as you're playing 1, 2, or 3 player. 4 player it seems to get a little bit difficult. Not exactly the easiest to go up to really high rounds just because of the fact that this is such a small map based on a very small multiplayer map, of course. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to be talking about the map itself, different things that you'll find around in certain areas, and a little bit about strategy. What I found worked really well, either from trial and error or from people I played with saying, "Oh yeah, I did this before and it worked out." But as you can see, we started out by going around to each of the teddy bears. The one in the bus at the beginning. There's going to be one in the yellow house, which is next to C if you're a Domination fan. That one's going to be upstairs on the bunk bed. And the last one you just saw through the fence under those little archway thingies in the back of A, or the teal house. And the interesting thing is this song is actually the intro song to the Moon map, whereas all the other maps, it was the exit song that became the next hidden song. Of course, Moon didn't have an exit song, so there was no way to do it, which, at least from my understanding, must mean that Moon was the last map. That was the end of the story. Of course, that story. This tags on to that story almost as a prologue, because this clearly takes place before Moon, since the hidden song takes place before Moon. So interesting, don't you think, as far as putting it at a place. And then we're running around as either 4 CIA agents or 4 hazmat suit guys. And at some point in the game, and you'll see it when it happens, Richtofen, because he talks throughout the game from this little TV in the teal house, but there's one point where he says something that he says in Moon right after he takes control of the zombies, and then all the zombies' eyes turn blue. Because as of right now, they're all yellow, if you haven't noticed, because, of course, it's prior to Richtofen taking over. And, of course, the zombies say Sam at that point, and it's all her saying stuff when you get different drops and things like that. But anyway, there's this little door here, too, in the back of C, which is really interesting, because there's a drop in there. And from what we can guess, because I haven't really been counting and double-checking every time, but every time you hit 100 kills, it changes to a different thing. And so you can open it up for $3,000 and get whatever inside. As far as we can tell, you can only open it once, so it's not something you want to be using all the time, because you can kind of get screwed. I thought maybe something would happen if I knocked off all the mannequin heads, but maybe I just didn't do it in time, or maybe I didn't get all of them, so who knows if that's really anything like it is in the original map. But if you go back to the video I was just talking over and not really explaining, you saw that I was walking past all these different stacks of boxes with a plant on top, and all of those mark the spaces of where perks or the pack-a-punch machine can appear. Now there's 10 of those throughout the entire map, but you can only get 4 perks, not just by buying them, but that's all that appear, as well as the pack-a-punch machine, and they seem to come roughly every 5 rounds. So by round 25 you should have everything available, pack-a-punching and all 4 of the original perks. Which, of course, for those of you who are just starting out in Zombies, that's Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Speedy Cola, and, of course, Double Tap Root Beer, which, for some reason, nobody likes. But anyway, that little area I was just in, like I said before, that's A if you play Domination. That's the easiest loop, so I'm not really going to talk about that too much because it's pretty much just running around in circles. Now, you see here, I'm going to show you some of the weapons. Inside this truck, you can see there's Simtex, the AK-74U. Behind me, there's going to be the Claymores, the Bowie Knife, all regular price, and then, of course, the Galvanuckles, which is $6,000, and that's a one-hit kill up to level 13. And then after that, your pistol and a punch, 8 bullets and a punch should kill them, but of course, there's going to be a lot of zombies at that point, so it'll be tough to do that the whole round. But just so you know, it's $3,000 to get into that truck. And as you can see here, there's the counter for population, and it counts down from 100 or 99 down to 0, and then you always get a weird noise, either a chime, a horn, which sounds suspiciously like the horn of the bus in transit. So I wonder if there's some connection to that bus and this bus here. And then, of course, there's there's a gong or a chime sort of thing, and then a siren. So those three different noises cycle through each time you hit 100. And it seems like the perks, when they do drop down, they always drop down at that point when you've hit 100. Now, as far as the other weapons, there's two more in the starting area, of course, the ones we always get, the Olympia and the M14. And then each of the buildings has a gun, and that's it. So there's three guns total, three real guns total for loopers, and then the two starting guns. And then the backyards have nothing, just areas where the box can be. But the teal house, that's the one by A, that one's going to have the bear, or well, I call it the bear because I'm dyslexic, but it's B23A, or B23R, so I thought it was B32R, which still doesn't really spell bear, but that's what I saw in my head. But it's that pistol that's a 3-round burst, so it's actually pretty cool. A little bit grisly, so maybe we should call it the bear. And then on the other side, we're going to get one of the new shotguns, the name of which I can't remember. But those are all the guns that are there, except for upstairs now. I'm forgetting all of a sudden, because this is actually very important to the strategies. Those are both downstairs in the very first room that you open, each of the two 750 doors. When you go upstairs, on the yellow side, C, you're going to find the M16, and on the teal side, A, you're going to find the MP5. So those are what you're going to want to have at least as one of your weapons if you're running those loops at either A or C. Now, of course, B should be getting the AK-7 for you, and B is where it gets really tricky. Because as you can see, there's a lot of space to move, a lot of places to move around, but you can't get greedy. You can't, try and kill as many as possible. You really got to duck and move before they get to you just to be safe, because they can pop out from almost anywhere. And then the reason why it's really tricky is when you run out of ammo in the higher rounds and you have to jump into the truck to get the AK-7 for you. You're very vulnerable because there's 3 different directions they can come from, and it's actually kind of hard to buy the weapons because you have to jump up on that tire wheel, or whatever they call it, the wheel well, or not a well, but the wheel hump, and then buy it. So it's very tricky to get to, and I can definitely see a lot of people dying when they try to do that. So it's just something you gotta really plan out well, and obviously your best looper should be in the center. A, like I said before, you would do a loop. Now this is where it gets tricky for both A and C. In order to buy your weapons again in the higher rounds, to buy more ammo for the M16 or the MP5, you'll have to let the guy in the center know so he can shift his loop to one side or the other to allow you to run up the stairs of the backyard into the house, buy the weapon, jump out the window, and run back through the downstairs, upstairs, and then down again to get outside. And the reason why I said up and down, as you can see, I just passed those 2 doors, both of which are open right now, but now we've kind of realized that it's a much better idea to leave both of those closed. Just open the back stairs, the front door, and then the stairs. Well, no, the stairs are already open, so you buy the front door, you run up the stairs, and you buy the top door, and then you buy the back stairs to get down. It's a lot easier because now they can't come through the house. They can only come over the house, or obviously outside of the bushes. So it makes things a little bit easier to handle. And this one back here, this one's a little tricky too, but obviously not as tricky as B is, or the center. Just because of that little area here where the rock is, sometimes you go on the inside, sometimes you go on the outside, and if you're not paying attention, you'll just butt up right against it, and that can be a little shady at times. So that's just something to be careful with. But let's see, other than that, obviously you can see the new Pack-a-Punch camo, which is kind of cool. Blue and sort of like greenish, pinkish yellow thing. Obviously it still fires the same color because it's still powered by element 115. So all that's the same. But a lot of neat stuff in this. No wonder weapon. The ray gun does exist, but no wonder weapon. And then we do have all the new weapons from multiplayer in the campaign, which is pretty cool too. So maybe I'll make a video where I go through and I try and pack-a-punch all the guns. I'm also going to be making a video for multiplayer itself, and then I really want to start making videos on transit and how to put all the wonder weapons together and things like that. But as you can see here, we're about to get to a close. I forget that they come through the window upstairs, and so I end up getting stuck, and this is going to be the end. So I'm going to start to wrap it up. And until next time, guys, peace out.